Good morning, we're live. How is everybody this morning? Hopefully, you've all got your caffeine in whatever form you would like it in. Personally, I like mine in the form of Mountain Dew, Diet Mountain Dew, however. Anyway, good morning, Joyce from Mesa, Arizona, and Ernestine is here from Florida. Evelyn has joined us again from Indiana. Linda's here from Illinois, and Regina is here from North Georgia. Linda, good morning. And Susie, good morning from Virginia as well. There's Sandy from Florida. Oh gosh, you've got thunderstorms going on, Sandy. We did too this morning, just before I got out of bed. I really didn't want to get out of bed. I love sleeping with thunderstorms going on. Hi, Kathy. Good morning from Texas. Yes. So today what we're going to be working on is Artisan Curves Persian Peak templates. These are really not a whole lot different than working with our other artisan curves other than the design. Hi, Debbie. Debbie made it from Arizona. So nice to see you. So what we've got is we are going to be using a tack on this design. Okay, I'm going to turn my computer here so I can see because I don't have anybody to alert me for questions. So if I become quiet, all of a sudden, you know I'm looking. What I like is the variety of sizes that the Persian Peak templates come in, and I'm going to pull these out. I want you to see how diverse they are. This is a 1" by 1" template, which means that this little design up here is going to be 1" from side to side, 1" from top to bottom when it is complete, okay? Now, we obviously need a place to stop, and what you're gonna notice is that we really don't go across this area right here. We're just worried about the peaks, okay? So there we've got our 1" by 1". And here I'm going to show you the 1½ by 1½. And same design. What kind of what kind of surprised me was it really looked so much bigger, the 1½ by 1½, but when I held them up together like this, it really isn't that much larger. But when you hold them side by side like this, it really looks like this one's gigantic compared to that one. Hi, Kim. Good morning. Waiting on the storm in Atlanta. Oh my goodness, everybody's got rain today, haven't they? Okay, so there's our 1½. This is, and they're numbered. I did want to point that out. What you're going to see is this is number 50, 51, and now we're going to 52. That does not have anything to do with the size of the Persian peak. It only is the number of the template. And what I like about the way that they're numbered is that what will happen is you will know you're missing one if, for example, you don't have a 52 or a 53. Now we just saw the 1½ by 1½, and this is going to be a 2 by 2. Again, it looks so much bigger, but it's really not. When we line all of these up, let's see if I can get them lined up here. Look at how beautiful. They're just one on top of the other. Isn't that pretty? I love these. I absolutely love them. So here's our number 53, and this one should be a 2½ by 2½. Let's check it out. And by golly, it is. Here's the sizes right here. And again, same shape, just bigger. Okay, so we're going to hold that one up next. Isn't that cool? it looks like a shadow box, doesn't it? And now we come up with the number 54, which is the largest size, and this one will be a 3-inch by 3-inch. Now, one other thing that I like about this looks like a Hershey's Kiss to me. And so when I'm working on these, I feel that it's only fair to the templates that I have a few Hershey Kisses standing by just in case. Okay, so there they are. That's the whole set. And if you're curious about how the sets work, what I want to show you is the Artisan Curves come in circles, and here's the numbers of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 7 of those. The diamonds, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 diamonds. The iris has 4 templates. The peaks, the peak has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 templates. The teardrop again has 4. The Persian peak has 5. I've just shown those to you. Ovals have 7. The marquise have 6. The curved marquise have 10. And the squares have 4. So these are the numbers that coincide with the shape right here. So if you're ever kind of curious or you want to build up your collection of artisan curves, what you could do is just go ahead and make a photocopy of this portion of the back of the instructions, and you can just check them off as you get them. Because I don't know about you guys, but there's no way that I can lay out money to buy them all at one time. Would I love to? Absolutely. Would I end up divorced? More than likely. I really love my husband, so I want to stay married, so I'll just buy a few at a time. Now, the directions of the marquise are all this, or the artisan curves, I'm sorry, are all pretty much the same. And they can be used in the same way. What we have here is we have 16 reference lines. We've got a start and a stop on our reference lines, and that's what's going to make the shapes that we see. Okay, these are just some of the different ways that we can do these shapes. And what we do here is we look at a method 1, meaning we make each rotation its own shape, and the method 2, which means we kind of meld them together. I guess it's the best way of saying that. And it does look pretty. Now, what I did today, and you guys know I'm a little bit crazy. Hi, good morning. Patsy's here from Ohio. Awesome. Danielle, good morning. Judy Paul, good morning. Bev is here, Leah's here, Rhonda's here, Christina's here from Stockholm. My goodness, you guys really, Suzanne is here. You guys really snuck in there while I was describing that, didn't you? Oh, from rainy Stockholm. It's 59 degrees over there. Good morning, Christine. Good to see you. I assume I'll be seeing you over at my house a little later today, too. So anyway, it seems like it's pretty rainy all over the place, doesn't it? Lori, good morning from Wyoming, not Wyoming. Although I wish I was in Wyoming. Okay, so let's take our different sizes of Hershey's Kiss. I just can't get a Hershey's Kiss off my mind this morning. And what I did was I went ahead and put 32 reference lines in here. Overkill? Yeah, maybe. But that's okay, right? A little overkill never hurt anybody. So what I want to do is I just want to review. Oh, my headset just got caught up in some wires here. What I want to do is I just want to do a little bit of a review as to how to put the tack in. Now, these tacks are pretty flathead tacks, and they come with every template that you get that uses a tack to spin on, such as Spin Effects, the curved Artisan Curves, and several others. What you're going to get is you're going to get two tacks, and they come just like this. And that is just a little piece of cardboard. Now, you can keep them that way. It doesn't matter. I keep mine in a little container here next to me. I used to keep them in my pin cushion. I found it's easier to grab them out of here. And what these little silicone cylinders are is what's called a pin more. And it is just that. It's a little cylinder of silicone. And what we can do is we can put our tack into there, and that will hold it so that when we're reaching in to get a tack, I feel like Madge, soaking in palm olive dish liquid. Who remembers that? Oh, Nan, good morning from Sweden. And Margaret is here. Jan made it in this morning. No, send you. Oh, you want some rain, Jan? That would be okay. You can have ours. Good morning, Nancy. Good morning. And we have two people from Sweden. I am honored. I like that. I really do. So anyway, we can leave them on the little cardboard here. My biggest thing is not to have my fingers go in here and get poked. Okay, don't like getting poked with needles or pins unless I absolutely have to. So I'm going to take my tack out of my little silicone cylinder. I am going to put it in on my crosshair on the front of my fabric. Okay. When I do my crosshair on the front, I always, and this, I know not everybody does it this way, but I think the majority of us do it this way. I always complete the vertical and horizontal center. Okay. I find that it helps me to keep the numbering a little straight. Yeah, Di, you guys do desperately need rain out there. You guys have a lot of fires out there. As a matter of fact, one of the gals that's a friend of ours up here, her husband actually just got back from out there fighting fires, and he's probably likely going to go back out. It's terrible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in the front. Now, one thing that I want just as a word of caution, make sure when you put it in like this, you're putting it straight through the fabric and not at an angle like this. If you put it in at an angle, it's not going to come out where that center line crosses on the back. It's going to cut out someplace different. Where if you put it straight down and push it through, and this is that, whoops, that yucky batting that I talked about if you were with me last night. Okay, I just dropped my tag. Okay, so there it is. And I've got a dog up here that I don't want to eat it, so that one I had to find. Okay, I'm going to try this again. Straight through that crosshair. I kind of turn it around a little bit. Okay, turn my fabric over and poke it through. That's one way of doing it. And this batting is a bear. I cannot wait till this batting is gone. So I've got it poked through, nice and straight. So now what I can do is take it out of the front, and there's a little hole here that's going to allow me to poke it right back through with the sharp point towards the front. That's one way of doing it. Now there's another way of doing it, And this is the way Donnell does it. And I'm going to go ahead and take this tack out. And what we've got here is R&K tape, it's called. It's just tape that is used a lot by embroiderers. And I've got my tack in here, but before I put my tack in, I went ahead and made a crosshair on it because I'm not a really good judge of where exactly it should go. So what I know is if I mark a crosshair on it and I line up these lines with the crosshair on my fabric, and there we go. Now I know it's perfectly centered. The other thing that's nice about doing it this way is, for example, this particular batting, and this is the one that I talked about last night if you were here. And if you weren't, I cheaped out on this batting. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I did cheap out. Hi, Lindy. Nice to see you. Kathleen, you snuck in. I didn't see you. Oh, thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoy it. What this batting was it was some really cheap batting that my husband gets mad at because I cheap out all the time. And in some places it's really thin, in other places it's really plump. It's, and it's not fun to work with. And you could see how much trouble I was having getting that tack through there. So when I'm using something like this, it's just a lot easier to go ahead and put that tape on there. And like I said, I like to draw those crosshairs on there just because I'm not real well, let's put it this way. Nancy knows this. I'm directionally challenged. Nancy will attest to that, as was evidenced by a midnight ride through Missouri. Oh, goodness. There, got to get some of that caffeine. So what I want to do here is I want to start with one of my smaller templates, okay? Now, what I've done is I put my staple tape on the wrong side here. I'm not OCD compared to a lot of other people I know, but I do like my staple tape to be on the back of the template. I want to be able to read my numbers. Okay, so I'm just going to move it back there. You see, no big deal. There, we got it. Now I'm going to pick out a number of where I'm going to put this. Ideally, what I will have done before I get to this point is I will have drawn something out on paper and have a really good idea of what I want this design to look like. But you know what? This morning I wanted to do. Oh, hi, Janice. I was just talking about Bruce going out to fight fires out west. And that's Janice is the wife of the fellow that goes out and fights your fires out west. Randy, nice to see you this morning. Karen, it's good to see you as well. I've got such a nice group here. I always do, though. You guys are awesome. Okay, so what I'm going to do is let's put this at 5 inches. Okay, so what that means, let me get my ruler out here. And what that means is that from the pin to the very tip of the template is 2.5 inches. Because remember, this is just like our spinifex. So what's going to happen is it's going to be 5 inches from this tip. Oops, I got too much stuff in my way. Over to this tip. Okay, so it's a 5-inch design. And I'm going to just get these guys out of the way so they don't end up on the floor too, because we all know I tend to be a little bit of a klutz and I drop things a lot. Okay, so we're going to pretend this is reference line number 1. Now, I can go any way that I wish to. I can start at this line, or I can start at this line, or I can start right down here at the bottom. So let's go ahead and put our foot in. I'm going to start at this line right here, which would be line 32. That's a reference line 32. Yes, I overdid it, but that's okay. I'm going to move you guys in a little bit here. I want you to be able to see. Karen, good morning. Oh, I already said good morning to you. I'm sorry. That's okay. Twice is better than forgetting. Okay, so we're going to bring up that bobbin thread here on reference line number 32. Remember, when we're doing practice sandwiches like this, use up the tail ends of bobbins. If you're not going to be using that thread in the near future. And I know some of you noticed last night, I have my 301 back. Very happy that I went and got this machine out again. Take that first stitch in place and off we're gonna go. And there's my peak. Now what we want to do is we want to make sure that we get that extra little hesitation stitch up in the very peak because we want the peak to be nice and sharp. And now I'm going to come back down to reference line number 2. So I'm going from 32 to 1 to reference line 2. And down we go. And I'm going to stop right when I get on it. Now I'm just going to turn my template, and it looks like I need to come down about another stitch. That's okay. There we go. Now I've got the template where I want it to be. This is going to be reference line number 3. Okay. Remember, I've got 32 reference lines in here. Do you need that many? Not really. You don't have to put that many if you don't want. I just decided to do that, and I need to go just a little bit further again. And one reference line. And part of the reason that I have a little bit of trouble seeing here is because I keep my light off. If I put my light on my machine on, you guys would be blinded. You wouldn't be able to see what I'm doing. So here we go. Now, my template slipped just a hair. I'm not going to worry about that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to the top. I'm going to make sure that I stitch my point in. I'm going to come down a couple stitches, and I'm just going to go ahead and realign this. Now, I did not slip that far. It was just a very small slip. So this isn't even going to show. And come down to the next line and rotate again. I'm just going to do a couple more of these. And you see the design that's coming along. It's really, really pretty. Okay, and we're going to go one more time. And we're going to stop right there. Okay, cool. We've got a needle channel instead of a puzzle piece. Love it. Oops, I got to get my needle up here a little bit, guys. And there we go. Is that adorable or what? I'm telling you, I could see a mini Spinifex in here or one of the new embroidery designs in there. And that would be so cool. I mean, really, I love this shape. I really do. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut some threads here, check for comments and questions. Okay. Oh, thank you, Linda. It is pretty. I really like it. It's really a lot of fun. And yes, it does make me want to eat Hershey's Kisses, but alas, I can't, so I won't. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to reference line 32. I'm going to use our 1.5 by 1.5. Now, the last one I had at 5. If I put this at 5, again, remember, the tip of this design to the tip of this design on the bottom is going to be 5 inches. And because I already stitched on 5 inches, I don't want to do that again because all I would accomplish is stitching over what I've already stitched. So let's come up here and should we do 5.5? If we do 5.5, we're going to have 1/4 of an inch on each rotation because 5.5 will bring us to 5.5 between here, and we have to divide that by 2, being 1/4 of an inch. If I put it on 6, then we will have 1/2 of an inch between those. So let's go ahead and try the 1/2 of an inch. Okay, now this one, what we could do is we could come from here over to here, but that wouldn't work. Not with the design we've started, okay? So let's go ahead with we're going to follow through with this design, and I'm just going to go ahead and pull my thread up on line 32. That's where we started before. I'm going to go ahead and put it down, line up my vertical center. Oh, thank you, Suzanne. Oh, Nan, I appreciate that. Nan says, and let me see if I can get it to show. Nan says, I love the sound of your machine. Oh, your students think that's pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool too. And for those of you who haven't heard the story, the machine used to be my husband's. He is a quilter. And he asked me if I wanted to try it. And I said, sure, I'll try it. And he never got it back. He had to go buy himself a new one. I shouldn't say a new one, an old new one. He ended up with getting one himself. It's a Singer 301. This is what it looks like. It does nothing but straight stitching, and it is the best machine for ruler work I have ever used. If you get your hands on one, take it. Definitely just dive right in. Okay, so I'm starting on line 32. Here's my line 1. Remember that we have the point at line 1, so we want to be sure that we make that hesitation stitch. And now we're going to come back down and we're going to stop on reference line number 2. And my foot that's the one thing that's not good about these machines is they vibrate a lot and it tends to self-loosen the screw. Okay, so there I'm on line 2. I'm going to go up to line 3. Yeah, there we go. And come back down on line 4 and stop. Now we're going to go over. I need a little bit of a stitch there. And now we're going up to line 5 and back down to line 6. Now, do you see a pattern developing here? This is the one thing I do in my head is I try to remember patterns of numbers. So for example, every odd numbered reference line will have a peak. Every even numbered reference line will have a valley. So if I'm going through this and find myself getting confused as to which reference line I'm on, I'm just going to look, is it a peak or a valley? Okay, and that's going to help me. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, so forth. And the valleys will be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, so forth. So we're pretty good on that respect, on being able to be sure that we're on the right space. Oh, Jean, no problem. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Kim, hi. You know what? It is easy. It just takes one thing, and all of my students are going to know what that one thing is. Yeah, Regina does look like a spider web. Practice. Okay, practice is the one thing that I find just always helps your stitching. Now, also find the right speed for you. Some instructors and students like to stitch fast, and for them that works really well. And I envy them because I stitch slow, always have. When I was learning to stitch garments when I was in, grade school with my mom and 4-H, even then I was always the last one done with the project. And it was because I stitched slow. But I don't apologize for that. I enjoy it. I take my time and, as some students have heard before, enjoy the journey because it is a journey. Everything in life is a journey and we should be enjoying it. Okay, so there we go. So there is ours, 1.5 by 1.5. Now, we can keep going out here. I'll just do one more because we do definitely have time. And then I want to try something. Okay. All right. So what we did was the first one was at 5. Remember, we used our number 5 hole on the first one. Our second one, we used the number 6 hole. So this one, can anybody guess what we're going to use? Oh, Joyce, you're so right. It does look like a tiara. Okay, Nan has hi. That's the same as my husband and I walk into a quilt shop. I buy fabric, but her husband bought a new sewing machine. He didn't pay for your fabric, Nan. How dare he? Oh, if he can afford a sewing machine, he can afford the fabric. And Linda's correct. We are going to go to number 7 next. Okay. And again, we're going to start on line 32 and we're going to come up on our peak on line 1. And I just think that this is so pretty. It's not fancy. It's not something that's, it's just simple. It's plain, it's simple, it's beautiful. And, this to me will work very nicely on modern quilts where the stitching is the quilts themselves are a little more modest in the number of fabrics that are in them and in their designs. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get this out of the way. Now you'll see this looks a little further away, doesn't it? But that's all right. It's good. And down we're going to come again, stopping at that same line and twist. And I definitely think this will be one that I'm going to go ahead and I will finish out and put an embroidery in the center for a sample piece. Look at how gorgeous that is coming along. Oh, need to get over just that little one stitch. And here we go, back up. Remember, peak on the odd number lines, valley on the even numbered lines. And we're going to do a couple more. Up we're going to go. Now, what I want to show you here is I have just a little wobble right here. Okay? You would not have noticed it, however, if I had not pointed it out, correct? You see how forgiving this is? It is so much fun because you can be very relaxed while you're doing this, which brings to mind the fact that when you're sitting at your machine, you should be relaxed. Make sure your shoulders are not in your ears. It's easy to do. We all get tensed up when we start doing that big old hunch. And that's not good for our posture, and it's not good for our neck, and it's not good for our just for our well-being. So keep those shoulders down, relax. If you get tired, get up and walk around a bit and then come back to it. I'm not going to tell you to go scrub a floor or something, though. That would be sacrilege. Okay, so here we've got our third rotation. I love this. I absolutely love it. So now what we may want to do is let's take our third rotation here, and I'm going to go with a smaller, I'm going to go with a smaller number. I'm going to put it on 9. Let's see how that's going to work. Perfect. So what I did was I put the 1.5 by 1.5 back on, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull up my bobbin thread. Now I'm starting at reference line number 1. And I'm going to put my needle down. There we go. What I want to see, what I want to be sure of is I'm going to use my spacing gauge here, and I'm going to make sure that I'm going to be stitching from point to point on this one. So I'm going to, there we go, take that first stitch in place. I do that so I don't produce toe catchers. And we're going to come up like this and come back down. And we're going to stop right on top of that previous rotation. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to twist our templates. And again, taking that first stitch in place, up we go, and down we go. Stop at that tip of that previous rotation again. I'm going to get these guys out of the way so they don't end up on the floor. Okay, here we go. And up and down. Remember, when we get started, when I get started, I'm not going to say everybody does this, but when I get started, I kind of like to start off like a car, slow, and then work my speed up. I don't like to slam on the gas and stomp on the brake. Okay. Hi, Maureen. It's so good to see you from Kansas. Linda said, I was thinking this shape would really be nice for a frame for an applique or embroidery. And you're absolutely right, Linda. It would be perfect. Okay, so Nan asked how big this can be. This can go all the way up to 18 inches, Nan. The This is where it cuts off at 18 inches. So it can be 18 inches from one end to the other. It would be an 18-inch circle. So it gets up there pretty large, actually, I think. Anyway, what I was saying, I think, is talking about starting and stopping. I slow down when I start. I slow down when I stop. And because I'm doing that, I'm also slowing down the speed of my hands, not just the speed of my machine. What I try to do is match the speed of my machine with the speed of my hands. And again, that comes with practice. And it will happen for you, I promise. Okay, so now what I've got, I'm just going to take this out again. Okay, we went on line. Oh, I'm not even sure which line we were on here. Oh, we were on line 9. Okay, look at that. Isn't that cool? I really like what's happening here. So now what we could do is we could take out our sampler kit and start playing with moving these down, but I'm not going to. Okay. What I'm going to do is I am going to try, and this will not work. I'm going to need to go to 11 inches, but I need to get a bigger size template. And that was a 1.5 by 1.5. So I'm going to get our 2-inch by 2-inch. And now what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and put this on the 11-inch down here on the, back you up so you can see it, 11 inches down here. And then I'm going to use my spacing gauge. I'm lining up my vertical line first, and that's going to work out perfect. So I've got my 2-inch. Now we're going to take a stitch in place, and up we're going to go. Don't forget that extra hesitation stitch up at the top. And we're going to end up at the tip of our last rotation. I'm going to twist my template. And there we go. I'm taking off, going to the center. Remember, now what we have is, because we had our points on the even numbered lines last time, this time they'll be on the odd numbered lines. It just helps to remind yourself of those things. Do you have to write it down and be OCD about it? Probably not. Okay, so this one, it looks like in order to hit my mark, I just need to twist that template about a half a stitch, and by doing that, I'm hitting my mark perfectly. There we go. We're going to do 1.5 more right after I take a drink. Okay, let's take a look here what we've got. Suzanne said it would be great for coloring in or doing template. Absolutely, Suzanne. This would be a great opportunity for that. What I could see is starting gradient, starting out light colors and getting darker and darker as you go across. I think that would just be stunning. Yep. Uh, Linda says it looks like beautiful flower petals, and it does. That's what's kind of cool about it. It does. And that's the way I should think about it instead of Hershey's Kisses, right? Maybe make me less hungry. Mm, there we go. A little bit more caffeine. Now I'm going to use my spacing gauge here, and let me make sure you can see exactly where I'm using it. I'm using it at that peak. I want to make sure that I land on that peak. So I'm going to take my stitch in place. Oops. There we go. There we go. And I'm going to come back down, and perfect. And I'm going to make a half. No, actually, this one I'll make a whole rotation. Okay, here and back here. And we're going to stop on line 32. I'm going to leave that in. I'm going to take this out. Now I'm going to move you. Look at that. Cool. That is so cool. Okay, so now the next one I want to make is coming this way. I need to break thread. So is that a problem? No, it's really not. Especially because it's just a practice piece. So I'm just going to cut my thread off, and I'm going to start again. Remember, when the peak is on the odd number, the valley is on the even number. When we switch templates, what we want to switch is this peak and this valley. So on this next time around here, what we're going to do is this is going to be our valley. This is going to be our peak. Now that was our 2" by 2" on line 11. So let's get out that big 2.5 by 2.5" and let's see where we need to put that. And I'm going to start it here. And okay, 14 might be a little big, 13.5 might be a little small. 13.5 is going to work out great. Okay. So this is the 2.5 by 2.5" and we're going to put it in at 13.5 inches. Maybe not. 14 is just a little, yeah, you know what? This is not going to work exactly the way I planned it to, but you know what? We're going to give it a try anyway. Okay. You'll see what's happening here. This is probably not going to work because this is off. When you see the spacing gauge, and I'm going to go ahead and pull this out, you'll see that I'm not getting a true 1/4 of an inch here. It's going to encroach on this peak. So if I go to 14, I've got way too much room. So this is something that maybe we should go ahead and get the other template that we just used back. And maybe what we need to do is place this at, well, I'm thinking 14 inches. And that's going to be close. Maybe 15. This is not going to work on this one either. So unless we somehow come up with a way to fudge this, okay? So sometimes what I will do is I will just go ahead and I will keep trying. And that's the biggest part of our template, is right here. You see how important it is to keep this straight and to keep our spacing gauge straight. Let's try this. This has to be able to work. It's just I need to find the right measurement. Okay, so I'm going to put that there. Okay, so I'm going to go on 14. Okay, so I am going to go at 13.5, and I'm going to probably have to do some fudging. That's okay. All right. Good morning, Jean. Can you echo, then do another row of kisses? Suzanne asked. You know what? That's a great idea. Let's try it. Okay. So we had the 2.5. So we're going to take the 2.5 again, or the 2 by 2, I'm sorry. Yep, the 2 by 2. And now we had it on 11, so there's 11.5. Let's put it on 12 and echo. And this is how we design as we go. And I really, this is to me the most fun part of what we do. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to make that echo. Thank you, Linda, for the suggestion. Oh, Suzanne, I'm sorry. Okay. So here we go. Oh, now this was a very interesting pattern. I like this. Okay, and we're going to turn. And Nan asks if we can just make some adjustments. Absolutely we can, Nan. That would work as well. Okay, and there we're going to, oh, we need to come down just a little bit here. There we go. The lines are getting a little cattywampus here. Harder to see. And up we go. This is the echo. And now we're going to come here. I think this is actually going to be prettier than if it just kept fanning out. I made a little bobble on the top of that one, but I'm not going to worry. It's not the end of the world. That's why we practice. Okay, and down we come here. Okay, so there we've got our echo. Now, Suzanne, let's try to put, oh, not a problem, Regina. We'll see you soon. Can I center the camera more? Yes, absolutely, Jan. I had it moved there so you guys could see what I was doing otherwise. So now what's going to happen, this is the 2.5 by 2.5. Isn't that what I just got done with? Yep. Now we want to go to the 3-inch. And now this is going to work beautifully. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on 13.5 on the 3-inch. Whoops. I want to line it up over here. And that's too close. So we're going to come up to 15, 16, and 14.5 looks just right. We will have to do a little fiddling. Let's try 15. Actually, 15 is much closer. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to fiddle just a little bit, okay? And I'm not going to do it with strings. I'm going to do it with thread. Okay, here we go. And I didn't get that up in the right spot. Here we go. Okay. And there we go. We got it. All right. So what I'm going to do is I am going to come up on the left side of this. Come up here and we'll cut this piece of thread off. And now I'm going to come back down here. And you're going to see this fits perfect. This fits absolutely perfect. Right at the tip. I was able to stop right at the tip. And I'm going to go ahead and twist my template, and it is working out perfectly here. Get up to the top, make sure my needle is in the down position. Perfect. So we can really make this huge. Now there's a whole lot we can do with this. This to me is one of the simpler designs that we can make with this, but it's also one of my favorite designs. Up we're going to go to the top, needle down. I'm just going to double check this. Okay, so this one is a little large right here, but that's okay. We're going to come down, and what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to fiddle that foot in just a hair, and that turns out perfect. Okay. And nobody will ever be the wiser that I made that little adjustment there, right down on the top. Perfect. And we'll do another half. Up we go. And that's where we're going to stop for this demonstration. Okay. I'm really liking this, guys. What do you think? And it would be perfect for mini spin effects, for an embroidery, for a template. There's so many things you could do in the center. You could template each one of these guys, or maybe just template right here in between on the echo lines. Okay. Now, one more thing that I was hoping to do, and this is just going to be just random. It's going to be in a random spot. Okay. I'm going to get my chalk liner out here, find that ruler, and I'm going to make a straightish line. Yeah, it's not going to be totally straight. It's just going to be straight-ish. Okay. Now, what I want to do is that constant echo, 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 echo. Debbie, you know what? That's really profound. It looks like a peacock feather's tail. Yeah. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to move my pin right here. Okay. I'm going straight. I'm not going to move anything. All right. We're going to start it right here. I don't know if how well this is going to work. I know it will work. It's just a matter of how well it's going to work. Wish me luck, guys, because I think I'm going to need it on this one. Okay. All the way down to the bottom of the template, I'm going to go. Take that first stitch in place. I'm going to come up, and I'm going to come back down. Needle down. Okay. Now I'm going to lift my foot up and take my template off. There's just one. Now that was our 1 by 1. Now I'm going to take our 1.5 by 1.5. I'm going to put it on. And I'm going to put it on right here. Okay. Now what I need to do is get out to this point. But you're going to see I have a little bit of space here. Don't worry about it. You've got this. We're just going to go ahead and freehand that side. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and go around. I'm going to come right here, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close that and leave my needle down. let me put it in this direction. It's going to be a lot easier for you all to see it, okay? So here's what we've got so far. Susie said, "Oh, hi, Carolyn. You came in. Nice to see you." Susie says, "I have the templates. I've never tried them. I have to make more time in my life." Oh, we all agree with that, especially when it comes to quilting. There's never enough time, is there? So that was the 1" and the 1.5". Now we're going to use the 2". And we're going to go ahead and slip it on. And I need to put it on this way or else it's not going to work. Yeah. So now we're going to come up. Oh, 8 is perfect. So I'm going to come here. Now I'm going to stitch out to the outside. And we're going to come up. And we're going to take our extra stitch on top and we're going to come down. And I'm going to go in and back out. There we go. Now I'm going to take the 2.5" out. No, that was the 2". I'm sorry. Now I'm going to put the 2.5" in. And we're going to see where we need to go. Okay, so this was on 9. This is on 9. I'm going to line it up. I'm going to come out to the side. And come back down. Okay. So now that is the 2.5", and I've got to keep turning it around to get it out. Well, I need to lift my foot just a little bit. Okay. So that's going to go over there. Now we're going to take the 3". Whoops. There we go. And I need to turn it this way to get it on. And I'm going to put, so my foot is right there on this bottom. And we're going to come back up this way. And you'll see I just pulled that thread back. It got a little cattywampus on me there. So now we're going to come over this way. Well, we're going to try to. There we go. And we're going to come back up. And back down. Now, that could make a really cool border pattern. If you were to put it in and then place it so that your sashing piece would come over the top of it like that. It is so cool when it's just echoed like that. The other thing that we could do is we could come back, put the pin over here, and repeat this and make an eye out of it. So those are some options that we have for these particular templates. They're a lot of fun. They give us a lot of versatility, and they're fun to work with as well. So I really hope you'll try them. Does anybody have any questions this morning before we take off? I have. Oh, Rama, you're back in India. Welcome, welcome. I have another class. So Linda just got back from dropping her car off for service. Oh, don't you love it? And they cost so much. And Lisa's here from Sugarland. So nice to see you, Lisa. So If you have any questions, don't forget you got a way to get a hold of me. Go to the instructor page. All of my contact information is there. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. That's always appreciated. And I appreciate if you do that also on my YouTube channel, which is 906 Quilting. And until we meet again, remember, let's quilt.